Hello everyone, Lapis here. Some of you may remember a video I made exactly a year ago called How I Destroyed My Life. Now, many of you may be wondering, how has my life progressed in the year since? Well, I'm no longer 19, I'm now 20. But many of the things in my life remain the same. I'm still unemployed. I still didn't have a necessarily very successful year in school. I still haven't kept up my promise that I made at the end of that video to upload a YouTube video every week to my channel. In fact, quite the opposite. I haven't really been, the most active person in the world, and I never really have been. And yet, despite of these things, I'm still a very, very happy girl. Now, considering how I seemed in the last video, I was practically on the brink of tears, so driven to solipsism and depression. It may be kind of interesting for you to hear that somehow I did manage to turn it all around. Somehow I did manage to become a happy person. And it wasn't easy, but right now, I honestly do feel happy. I honestly feel fulfilled in my life for perhaps the first time in forever. And I want to share with you a few of the reasons why. So, if it wasn't all of the other things I listed before, work, school, successful career, exercise, all of the things that are supposed to help us become a happy person under capitalism and indeed under any system that I can imagine, well, then what changed for me? Well, the simple thing is that I started to see more people and I started to be able to help them. I am lucky enough now to have 4 partners, 2 boyfriends, 2 girlfriends, and I love them all very dearly because all of them have taught me very different things about life. They've taught me all sorts of new perspectives that I've never been able to discover without them. Nicholas, Penny, Amir, Lynn, all of these people have been so important to me. But I can hear, the therapists in the background there, or like the armchair therapists, the pseudo-therapists, the pseudo-intellectuals of YouTube being like, oh, well, here's yet another case of a female basing all of her happiness on male approval. This is why the female is always hysterical, always neurotic, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Well, it's not the fact that I'm with 2 guys that made me happy, or the fact that I'm with 2 girls, or not even the fact that I'm with all of them at the same time. And although I value them very much, I really do think that I could continue to live even if they did break up with me, even if I was suddenly alone. I think I would still have that happiness and self-confidence because it wasn't just them, It wasn't just what they could do for me. And I haven't become dependent on helping them and hearing them the way I may have used to in the past with some of my friendships. No, what I've truly found is a beautiful reciprocal exchange. Reciprocity is something that I had undervalued in life. Or sometimes I undervalued it. Sometimes I believed, all friendships and relationships have to be exactly, you have to give as much as you get. So if someone was helping me, well, you better sure that I would help them. But I've learned that it's okay sometimes for people to be unhappier than other times. Sometimes I won't get to completely repay the compliments that people have given me, the nice things they've done for me. And I have no expectation that they repay me for the help I give them. It's just people being together and being their best selves together. It's just 2 people finally, or in my case 4, understanding what it's like to have somebody else who understands you. And understanding sometimes, because they actually listen to me, I think I grew to like the sound of my own voice, and I don't need people to just listen to me anymore, although I may have needed it at one point in my life, because I like the sound of my voice. It's a beautiful voice. It is a really beautiful voice, and I don't need other people to tell me that anymore because I know it's true. And I feel that way about so much. Like before, I felt so insecure about actually telling people, look, my name is Lapis, my pronouns are she, her, I am a woman. I felt so afraid. I would look at this face. It's hideous. It's mannish. Who could say that this ever passes? But then I realized, you know what? I'm being a hypocrite. I have one standard for all the other people in the world. Passing doesn't really matter. It's who you say you are that counts. It's, your internal self that we should value and treasure. And then I have another completely different standard for me where, oh, well, if you don't look like a model, then of course you're not a woman and not worthy of any sort of love or affection at all. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? It's a kind of what I call reverse narcissism. It's not that everyone else is worth me and I'm the greatest person in the world. It's I'm the worst person in the world, but everything still centers on me. Everything still changes to my whims. All the standards I have for everyone else in the world, they're different for me. But why should I be an exception? Why should I be an exception to the self-love, to the love I give other people, to the support I give other people? If I'm saying, Lapis, that's the only way that you can ever pass as a woman is being a supermodel, is being Blair White but hot and leftist, well, come on. That sort of thinking is going to cross over to other trans people. And you know what? I am comfortable being a woman. I am a woman, and I don't need other people to tell me that. I know it myself. I know it, and I feel it with the strength of 1,000 suns. And I got so caught up on my parents, having trouble with my pronouns and making nasty remarks that I let myself be cowed by them for that year. I was in a state of mind where I honestly believed that I didn't deserve the common decency of being called a woman, but you know what? I fought for it, and it was difficult. My parents didn't like the things I said to them, neither did my sisters, but I made them understand. I made them understand that I am a woman, and that if you're not going to treat me that way, then I don't want you in my life. I don't need you. I love you, I want you, but I don't need you. And if you make it clear that you don't want me around and that you're not going to respect who I am as a human being, then I don't want you in my life. And it was hard, but it worked. And now they all use my pronouns pretty much all the time. And that's, I could actually let myself be that way. I could do that for myself because I had a value. I had a worth as a woman. And I could see that I was a woman, and I stopped thinking that I was delusional and started thinking, well, maybe it's I'm not the problem anymore. Maybe I've never been the problem. And this is, the thing about my reverse narcissism, that all of the problems in my life had to come back to me. But no, of course it didn't. Do I think I'd look at any other individual and say, oh, yeah, all of their failings are just because they're a terrible person? It's not that society had any impact. It's not that their parenting had any impact. It's not that how they grew up had any impact. No, of course I wouldn't. That would be ridiculous. That would be silly. But I did it for myself, and it was wrong because I believed that I was different than everyone else and that all of the world had to center around my perspective. And it doesn't. I find it freeing to understand the world as, look, I'm not the most important thing in the world, but I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be, an amazing human being. I can just be, and that's enough to be worthwhile. Everyone always says, oh, I wish I was perfect, but you really don't. Perfect people, if they exist, which I don't believe they do, would be the most dull, reprehensible people on earth. Because, first of all, if you believe you're perfect, there is no way for you to actually change, there's no way for you to ever believe that you need to improve. But imperfect people, good comes so easy to a perfect person if they ever existed. They would just do good immediately. But an imperfect person needs to work on goodness, and that is so much more noble and so much more powerful than any sort of perfection could be, because you fought for it. You earned that goodness. You fought against all of the social evils and bigotries that you've been conditioned in since birth, and you made yourself a good person. You did it. You did it, and I did it too. And that is so much better than just pretending and hating yourself because you're not an angel. Well, human beings are better than angels. That's the reason God had them all bow down to us. It's because God made angels to be perfect, but he made us to be imperfect. And he understood that imperfection and goodness that you win and that you earn, even if you're imperfect, is so much more beautiful and powerful than goodness that was handed to you on a silver platter could ever be. And I know that I've made mistakes in life. Lots of mistakes. But my instinct when I made mistakes was always, oh, I'm so horrible. Yes, this is an inevitable result of me. Oh, I'm so dreadful. Oh, please pity me. Please give me the validation that I need, because I can't give it myself, because I hate myself. But you know what? I am at peace with the fact that I've made mistakes. But I'm not just okay with the fact that I've made mistakes. I'm going to make, in fact, I'm not just going to make efforts to rectify them. I am making efforts to rectify them. And I will continue to make those efforts when I inevitably make mistakes in the future. Because I am in a state of mind where I can genuinely listen to criticism. Not, oh, I'm so terrible. Oh, I'm the worst. Oh, yeah. But no change in the conduct. No. I can change. I can be better. Because I know that I can do it. I know that I have value, and I know that I have worth. And since I know these things, since I've proven these things to myself, and since everyone around me says the same thing, that you are, a nice person, is that really gonna, am I going to let them down by saying, oh no, I'm just so horrible, so nasty? At a certain point, you become an idiot, mumbling to nobody, mumbling about the world that only you can see. But maybe it's okay to go towards the mistakes. Maybe it's okay to embrace that imperfection and realize that, seeing that you've made mistakes, seeing that you are not perfect, maybe not even good. So what? Are you a terrible person? Well, you can be a better person. Maybe not a perfect person, maybe not even be a good person, but who cares? Good, evil, they're just a matter of perspective. What matters is what you do to help others. What matters is the fulfilling life you can earn for yourself through your actions, through your words, through the connections you forge with other people. You can make yourself anything you want. And if you still think that you're just like I was, the only person in the world, and a dreadful, rotten one at that doesn't deserve to exist, well, let me tell you this. You do. You always have. Because I can guarantee that no matter how horrible a person you are, you have made someone stay better. You have made someone smile. You have gave someone the strength to carry on. You have done good. You have added something to this world, and the world would be less for your absence. So have the courage to look at your failings, look at the mirror and say, I can change.